Shortly before 4:30 p.m. on Thursday the 28th of April 2022, the emergency services were called to attend Lakeside shopping centre in Thurrock after the reports that a man had been stabbed. Desperate attempts were made by staff to help the man, before the emergency services, including the air ambulance, reached the scene of the third floor of the shopping centre. Unfortunately, despite the best efforts from the emergency workers, the victim was pronounced dead at the scene a short time later. The police cordoned off the food court as a murder investigation was launched at Lakeside Shopping Centre, while forensic investigations were carried out. They spoke to a number of witnesses who were in the food court at the time of the incident and were told that he was attacked by two men wearing balaclavas. A man and a woman were arrested 4 days later, and they were both subsequently charged in connection with the murder and remanded into custody. They were identified as 19-year-old Brandon Luchman Singh of Grafton Road in Dagenham and 20-year-old Shannon Weston of Paddocks Close in Canewdon. Brandon was charged with murder and affray, while Shannon was charged with assisting an offender. The pair were remanded into custody due to appear at Southend Magistrates Court 2 days later. The man was identified as Michael Ugwa, a 29-year-old father of 3 from Raynham, who was due to be married in the near future. He was described as a loving and supportive partner to his would-have-been wife, a great father to his 3 children, a caring brother, and a pillar of support to his mother and to his wider family in general. A post-mortem examination at Basildon Mortuary concluded that Michael Ugwa died from a single stab wound to the chest, puncturing his heart in the process, leading to catastrophic blood loss at the scene. Paying tribute to Michael, his mother Loretta spoke with great sorrow as she described her son as a kind man with a large personality and an even larger heart. She said he was a big family man, and his desire for a brighter tomorrow made him an inspiration to all of his family. His support from being the first to step up when a member of the family was homeless to being the last to leave when his brother went through surgery. She said that in spite of his death and the pain that will be with them forever, they will look for the silver lining in the sea of darkness as Michael would have done, in the hope that the legacy he left will long outlive the pain they feel. She ended by expressing her gratitude and thanked everyone who reached out during the most painful and saddest period of their lives. The police arrested 2 more people in Chiswick in connection with the assault at Lakeside Shopping Centre. 22-year-old Mohammed Khan from Ilford of no fixed address was arrested on suspicion of murder and possession of Class A drugs, whilst a 54-year-old woman from Croydon was also arrested and questioned on suspicion of assisting an offender, before later being released under investigation. Mohammed, however, was charged with murder and affray and was remanded into custody, due to appear at Southend Magistrates Court on Friday the 6th of May. Brandon Luchman Singh and Shannon Weston both appeared before a judge at Basildon Crown Court, where the pair were not asked to enter pleas to the charges, but only to confirm their identity. Brandon was charged with the murder of Michael Ugwa, while Shannon was being charged with assisting an offender. Detectives investigating the murder of Michael Ugwa made a further arrest on Wednesday the 18th of May, arresting a 21-year-old woman from Woodford Green on suspicion of assisting an offender, before being released under investigation. Mohammed Khan was also charged with the murder of Michael Ugwa and was remanded into custody until their trial, which was due to take place the following year. On Tuesday the 11th of April 2023, 23-year-old Mohammed Khan and 20-year-old Brandon Luchman Singh stood trial at Basildon Crown Court for the murder of Michael Ugwa at Lakeside Shopping Centre, where the pair denied the charges against them for murder and affray. The third defendant, 21-year-old Shannon Weston, also stood trial and denied the 3 counts of assisting an offender. The 21-year-old is accused of driving the pair away from the shopping centre before helping her then boyfriend to evade police between the 28th of April and the 4th of May. The jury heard that the altercation started when Michael, who was accompanied with 2 friends, complimented Shannon, who was Brandon's girlfriend at the time, as he walked past the trio in the food court at Lakeside Shopping Centre. Upon hearing this, Mohammed and Brandon stood up from their seats and there was a short verbal exchange. As the events escalated, Mohammed is spotted discreetly brandishing a knife before he and Brandon stalked Michael through the shopping centre food court. The pair then performed a pincer movement, cornering Michael, with CCTV showing Michael retreating before holding up a chair in a bid to defend himself. Brandon then also grabbed a chair and charged Michael with it before throwing it towards him. CCTV then captures Michael manoeuvring through some tables, pushing towards Brandon with his chair and launched it at him, with Brandon blocking it. As Michael rushes Brandon and tries to wrestle the chair off him, Mohammed is seen sprinting towards Michael with a knife, stabbing him in the process. As the pair fled the scene, Michael was quickly surrounded by helpers who tried to perform first aid until the arrival of the emergency services. The incident is particularly shocking as it happened just before 4:30 PM in the afternoon in a public space, happening in front of a number of people, with a mother seen frantically pushing her children away in a pushchair. Michael sadly died at the scene after suffering a single stab wound to the chest, dying from catastrophic blood loss at the scene after the knife pierced his heart. Brandon denies the charges of murder and affray against him, as he claimed he was unaware that his friend had pulled out a knife until he stabbed Michael, whilst Mohammed denies the charges against him, claiming that he acted in self-defence. Mohammed claimed that Michael suddenly slowed down and swung his arms around, saying that he thought Michael was either going to try and punch him or to try and grab the knife out of his hand. He stated that he acted purely out of instinct, and he clarified that his arm, whilst holding the knife, was going up to simply block the attack from Michael and wasn't a malicious act of violence from his part. He also claimed that the incident started after Michael made a derogatory comments towards Brandon and himself, saying that he pulled out the knife as a deterrent, to try and give them an incentive to leave. But whilst Michael's two friends ran towards the escalators, Michael remained in the food court, with Mohammed claiming that he retreated the knife back into his pocket until he saw Michael and Brandon facing off with each other, and he ran towards his friend's aid when he saw Michael attack Brandon with a chair. 20-year-old Brandon Luchman Singh told the court that the altercation had occurred after Michael made a flirtatious comment towards Shannon, to which he responded by asking him to stop talking to his girlfriend in that way. He knew that Shannon didn't want that sort of attention, as she gets flustered in those situations and doesn't like it. He stated that he believed that Michael was trying to get a reaction from the group, to which Mohammed got up and defended his friends. This then fueled up Michael, who he claimed was being aggressive, and told them to take it outside, to which Brandon thought he was looking for a fight. Brandon then swore at him, to which made Michael angry, and then he picked up a stall and started shouting at the pair with a chair above his head. Brandon said that he automatically grabbed a chair and threw it at Michael as he started sprinting towards him. Brandon knew that Mohammed had previously carried a knife at times in the past, but said that he didn't know he was carrying one that day. He didn't know that Mohammed stabbed the man or even made any contact with him when he swung his arm. He said that Michael was still making comments towards him and swearing at him as he was leaving the scene, saying that he didn't know that he was injured. 21-year-old Shannon Weston, who is accused of helping the two men flee the scene of the fatal stabbing, said that she and Brandon considered going to the police every single day after the incident. The jury at Basildon Crown Court heard her police interviews after her arrest, in which she claimed to have only found out about the stabbing after the incident, as she drove the pair to Brandon's dad's house. Shannon said that she didn't know that Mohammed had brought a knife into her car, as she didn't even let him smoke in her car. The group were panicking and were trying to calm each other down, but it wasn't working. Brandon then told Shannon that Mohammed had stabbed the man, to which she was in total disbelief. She then looked up online about the incident, to which she found out that the man had actually died from the attack, which made her feel awful. On Monday the 22nd of May 2023, the jury found Mohammed Khan guilty of murdering Michael Ugwa at Lakeside Shopping Centre on the 28th of April 2022, with Brandon Luchman Singh being found guilty of manslaughter. and the pair remained emotionless as they were also found guilty of a fray. Shannon Weston burst into tears when she was found guilty of 3 counts of assisting an offender, and the trio were remanded into custody due to be sentenced on the 28th of June. After the verdict, Temporary Chief Inspector Tony Atkin, the District Commander for Thurrock, spoke about the tragic incident in which Michael needlessly lost his life. He spoke about how shocking this would have been to the shoppers of Lakeside who witnessed the incident, but explained that this was an isolated event, and reassured to the public that it's a safe place to visit. Judge Samantha Lee stated that she was satisfied that Mohammed had the intention to kill, evidenced by his admission to Shannon prior to the incident, in which he confessed to her that he felt like killing someone. She said Mohammed was wearing a full-face balaclava, had argued with his girlfriend earlier that day, and was clearly in an aggressive mood. He had carried a knife daily for almost 18 months leading up to the incident, and was very quick to bring it out during the altercation. She also stated that him striking out at Michael's chest, one of the most vulnerable parts of the body, showed that he had the intention to kill. After the verdict, members of Michael's family, who were wearing black t-shirts with photographs of Michael printed on them, spoke about the tragedy. Michael's mother, Loretta, wept as she read out a victim impact statement to the court.
My family has been shattered by this senseless act of violence, and we are still struggling to come to terms with the enormity of our loss, even as we know that this is a void that will never be filled. The impact of Michael's murder on our family is difficult to put into words. His children, who are now growing up without their father, have been deeply affected by this tragedy. What irony that they do a life sentence while we actually get the death sentence. Perhaps a change to impose longer sentences for cases like Michael's could be the way forward. The deterrence such an objective would create would most likely lead to a substantial decline in knife crime. People would be forced to consider their actions far more carefully in light of behavior sentencing, that such senseless killings may cease to take place.
Michael's partner, who is the mother of his 3 children, also read out a statement to the court. She said, "I've had to start my life all over again and try to normalise things for my children who have been left without their dad. I'm scared for what life has to bring as we try to grieve the loss of such a special person. I was never ready for this, and now we have to keep his memory alive. I'm doing everything I can to make him proud." On Wednesday the 28th of June 2023, Mohammed Khan was jailed for a minimum of 27 years for the murder of Michael Ugwa, whilst Brandon Luchman Singh was sentenced to 15 years in prison for manslaughter. Shannon Weston was given a suspended sentence of 2 years for each of her 3 offences. And that brings to a close the horrific case of Michael Ugwa, who was tragically taken from his loving family and friends at just 29 years old. Lawless Underground would wish to extend its sincere condolences to the loved ones of Michael Ugwa. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please consider liking the video and subscribing to Lawless Underground for more crime-related content. If you have any suggestions or requests for future videos, then please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, and goodbye for now from Lawless Underground.